Hello everyone, this is Z808 here, back with another Apex video. It has been 2 weeks since I made Langrisser, but I haven't really played at all. Been very busy with work, with life. However, I do want to share two videos today, and it's the last two games that I played before I hit Langrisser. One quite common question that I get asked is like, "Hey Z, I know you talk a lot about understanding or knowing what your win conditions or lose conditions are, but what happens if you know what your win conditions are, but you don't know how to get there? Like, there's so many RNGs. What do you do?" So one thing that I like to do is really think outside of the box, try something a little bit different, sometimes try to surprise my opponent by doing something a little bit different. First one I'm going to show is called Luna Lico. So let's jump into the game and see how it goes there. Pretty typical ban phase in the beginning. But before we begin, I definitely want to highlight that my opponent's box is very interesting. Rennie here, you see Sigma, you also see uh, the other one's Akaya that kind of stood out. So that's definitely very, very different. But as always, start with juggler bans on both sides, Landius picks on both sides. My goal is to surprise my opponent, so let's do that. So I'm gonna second pick Licorice. I have a lot of buffers for Licorice, including herself. And oh, that's a D-lid ban, most likely because he's gonna, yep, pick Iron Rod there. I start banning his Gospels, pick Luna, trying to get a combo going there. He start banning my healer, picks a healer himself. I get rid of the assassins, trying to protect Licorice, and I pick Joshua. So my favorite. So I'm gonna stop right here. This is one of my favorite combos here. You have Luna, Lico, and you also have Joshua. And this is a actual all princess team. If for those who don't recognize it, I did give him a buffer for his Iron Rod. Get rid of the long range, and I now have literally a full princess team with a tank. So pretty crazy. 1, 2, 3 AOEs, Luna potential AOE, but it's the Luna Lico combo that I'm gonna showcase. That's gonna be quite interesting. And opponent picks Akaya. All right, so let's see how this goes. So right off the bat, I start charging in, play very aggressively. Opponent not so aggressive, taking time, making sure to stay away from my Licorice. And I just go, hey, I'm going full on, bringing my Luna. It's very important that when you're charging in with Luna like this, well, of course, I did activate my 2-range guard, and tech really nothing really that can kill me. Potentially her if she uses her, but she didn't have her. Oh, she does have Blood of Sheikah to move again and then possibly attack with Javelin. But no, that's okay because I have my guard up, and of course Yusuke won't be able to kill me turn 1, so that's good. So he does his setup, still staying back. Oh, nice breeze on him. I just slowly move forward. So I'm gonna stop here for a second. So notice the positioning here with where he's placing his characters. So if you, as you know, Licorice has a 5 range, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he stayed right outside of her AOE range. At least that's what the opponent thought. So why I say that is if I look at that, hey, look! After I use I can move again. So the only reason for that is because of Luna's 3C talent. it actually allows for the person to move twice or within the aura range. So because the aura range is the 2 blocks, I can't move outside here, but I can move at least one. So that's the great thing. I can actually move one forward, which allows me to, ta-da, Luna Liko combo. And why is that important? Because look at how much damage I did, plus look at that debuff. Heal block on Arian Rod. So it's very dangerous to give Arian Rod very low life and not kill her off. But me being player 1, I have the advantage of acting first. He does have a heal, or normally would, but right, RNG was on my side. Heal block. Thank goodness. It's gonna get me to where I need to get to. So with that said, he activate high stakes, right, to get rid of the debuffs, and if he or I attack each other, we get back the life. However, I get turn priority. So, and all my units are being guarded. So, well, let's see what happens. So I move in with Joshua, 3C, boom, boom, does a little bit damage, kills off Weiler. So there goes the healer, and finishes our Arian Rod. So that has sort of sealed the deal, right? I got rid of the healer, the most dangerous person, which my winning condition was making sure Arian Rod is dead because I'm using a Horse Landius. I have, well, I have sort of a healer, but I have AoE here, and I have very, very strong support overall, and pretty sturdy Landius. So, with that said, Joshua has done his job. 4 against 3. He does have heals, but it's okay because I have the advantage of having AoEs, and one thing great about Shafenio is Shafenio can remove buffs, and there's always a chance to remove that Weiler buff. But the other great thing is that my Licorice also can put down a heal. So he's doing that combo with Yusuke, which is fine. Liko does her thing. Lots of damage. Hey, look! Silence. Nice. So RNG was definitely on my side. But, I haven't actually actively attacked Landius. But look at Landius. I mean, pretty debuffed. 20% life left. And this is just from Licorice's 2 AoEs and him attacking into me with a Weiler buff, Desperate Prayer buff. So that's pretty crazy. I mean, at this point, yeah, no, doesn't make sense for the opponent to keep going. So yeah, Luna Liko, crazy stuff, right? So let's look at the last one, and of course, the game before you reach the next rank, they always give you crazy opponents. Mr. Take It Easy. Let's just take a look at where Mr. Take It Easy is. So Mr. Take It Easy, if you look at right now, top 12 with 2,225. So I think back when 2 weeks ago, he was at least 2,000 already, and I was like 18 something. So my opponent was way higher than I was, and when you face a opponent that's much stronger, what are your odds? Well, I guess we just have to kind of surprise them, and it's not so easy. It's easier said than done, right? To think about it, when you are facing a veteran opponent, obviously that opponent is a strong player, made it to 2,000 way before I even made Langrisser. must have a pretty strong, decent team and knows what's going on. So how do you I named this tricky, but how do you trick someone who is a veteran? So, well, you think outside of the box, and I said that many times, but this one actually I want to give credit to my guildie. So my guildie here, he's the person is actually, I want to give credit to the person because Horny Potter is the in-game name um, for the for my guildie. And why that is so special is that he gave me some tips on using a specific skill that has helped me to win this fight. So let's take a look at what that is specifically. Okay, so right off the bat, this is still the fight. I was not Langrisser yet. Right off the bat, we know that Mr. Tikity is in a Langrisser, and I found that out once I get into the game. But as usual, so let's take a look at the box. So definitely for me, when I saw this, I saw Rennie, which is kind of odd. I've seen a lot of Rennies. I know that my opponent most likely will be doing some sort of a rush combo when I see Estelle here, and Hiei very dangerous for player 1. But for me, there's so many threats, right? Reen, Eren Rod, Ares, Hiei, just yeah, so many. So you can't ban them all. Typical went with Estelle, which is going to counter my again horse. I did regular bans, but it's going to counter my horse Landius, so that's already a no good. Give them a rush. So when, yeah, I mean both swords, and obviously that's the reason why D-Lit is gonna be able to counter her. Didn't ban my Ares. Second pick, Hiei, very dangerous. So I make sure that I take Joshua away. I did had a chance to pick Ares, which is very rare for me, but why not, right? If I can get away with it, let's get away with it. Whew, Eren Rod, scary. Got rid of their Gospels, not really sure why, but it's him retaliating by banning all my characters that can debuff. So very veteran, excellent player. Just let's look at the link pack by one more time. So I ban Gospel, he bans everyone, including literally at this point none of my characters can debuff. Better, excellent player. Got the healer. I ban their debuffers. Got my Joshua. Ban the rest of my healers, and look at my. I'm looking at my choices here. I did pick Luna. So if you look at my, let's look at the teams real quick. So buff, assassin, AoE, very strong against Horselandius. Rewind and AoE heal and AoE buff. And then you also have Yusuke. If somehow can kill my Landius, Yusuke is going to kill everybody. On my side, I pick Long Leg. I don't have a dedicated healer, but I do have Rachel to help heal. Joshua is going to be my key winning condition. And Luna is going to buff Joshua to get me. He's not really using any magic user, so Luna really doesn't help in that sense. But let's see what happens here. So pick ban wise, I would probably say, just by looking at this, you know, when I look at it's a Langrisser player. He got a stronger team there. And then I knew he was bringing a lot of Lancers, so to counter it, I did bring Landius with blue infantry. But let's keep going. My opponent moves forward. As expected, I slowly ease forward. I want to be very weary of the Hiei and how far Hiei can move, as well as who Hiei can snipe, and that's why I kept Rachel back here. So he has buff fraction buffer for half his team right there. So I'm gonna stop here for a second. So I already had in my mind that I have to basically engage him before he engage me. But I have to do it in a way that sort of makes sense. And it will make sense once I go on with the game. But right now, it doesn't look very favorable for my end anyways. Yep, get the buff, Ariana Rod, and I move forward. So basically at this point, we all move forward. My opponent does have turn priority and goes first. However, so evaluate what can happen. Okay, can't hit me. I spaced it out specifically so I know he can't charge into my Landius and act again. As far as Hiei, I know he has 4 moves and he can move another 5 moves. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I placed it in a way that he might be able to hit Joshua, maybe, but I don't think he's gonna try to do that. So that's why I had to have Rachel back here. Okay. So opponent say, okay, well, since I can't snipe you, I'm gonna inch forward. You still have the advantage with all the type of soldiers. I'm gonna stay put because I do intend to engage this turn. Now his Yusuke is fully buffed up. So I'm gonna stop right here. So he placed 3 of his characters in range. So I will, and then I'll explain a little bit more in detail later. But I'll go back and I'll explain why. But notice how much damage I did to these opponents, even though they were fully buffed and in forest. Right? Crazy, right? Okay. Anyways. So I move back. Oh no, 3C. Big damage. Oh, something happened. What happened? Invulnerable. What? So half my team is almost dead. More invulnerable. I'm gonna go back and explain a little bit more later. I charge in, Wind Whisper. One thing you notice that Wind Whisper did not hit Hiei because of Hiei's talent. Twice, so I did 0 damage, so Hiei is still full life. But I definitely damaged Estelle quite a bit, and Sophia is not full life anymore. So here's the fun stuff. So Hiei comes in, charging in, boom. He's gonna snipe somebody. Well, he debuffed me, and yep, hit me. I'm almost dead, but hey, what just the hell happened? Oh, and even Arian Rod just died after using 3C. So table has turned. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 characters. My one pony has 2. So what exactly happened? I mean, that's crazy, right? If you think about it, with all the AOE that he was doing, he had the advantage in the soldiers. So let's take a couple steps back on what happened in the beginning of turn 2. Because typically if you just look at what happened, it probably didn't make sense. But if I explain it a little bit more, it will make a lot more sense. So I'm gonna move forward and then get to the point where basically normally Joshua wouldn't be able to reach, but because of I placed strategically Luna here, and so that I can reach. So I'm not sure if the player, my opponent was aware of that. Maybe not. But this gave me the opportunity for my Joshua to come in and use Joshua's 3C. And as I mentioned a little earlier, like, why did I do so much damage? So let's take a look at my skills and why I gave credit to my guildmate. So if you look at my skills, I'm actually using ninjutsu, I'm using 3C, and I'm using ruthless. And you said, what the hell is this guy thinking? It's like useless skills, right? But actually not. Okay, the reason why, how Joshua's 3C works is the damage actually applies on where it lands. So the opponent made a mistake of standing here, so my Joshua using 3C landed on a wall, which gave me a plus 30% damage. Plus 30% damage. In addition, I also have Ruthless. When I crit, I get an additional 20%. That's 50% damage, right? So that's a lot of damage that I did, and that's why I was able to get them down so low. In addition to that, if you notice that the buffs, debuffs, so in addition to just hitting interestingly hard and be able to move, Joshua's 3C also critical hits apply one random debuff. And those random debuff actually includes heal block, super nice, and also buff block. So that's the reason why, if you look here, when my opponent uses the 3C, I'm not sure if my opponent was aware of it, did not get the buff from the 3C. See all this invulnerable? That gives Iron Rod the immunity to reduce damage by 90%. That's why later on my Rachel was able to one-shot the Iron Rod. Okay. And in addition to that, because of the heal block on Yusuke, he couldn't heal, so obviously it gave me the opportunity to finish off his Yusuke. Okay. Which is still okay, because he's still right now 4 against 5, and he has supposedly been able to kill off my Joshua, right? But as we saw earlier, he attacked my Joshua, reduced my attack. I, barely did any damage, but I was able to kill him off from my skill. So let's take a look at what exactly happened. Why I live and he didn't, because we all know here is OP, and it's very rare that he would not, right? 1445 attack power, that's quite high. Okay, reduce my attack power with the debuff, and I believe he also removed some sort of I think all my buffs were removed, so I even lose my defense. So my defense is very low, but what's interesting was that I was standing on forest. That's one plus 20%. I was within the range of Alandius, so that aura also minus 15% damage. Okay. So that kind of gave me the edge. So if you pause here, oh, I think that damage is. I wonder what that is. Oh, damage dealt is decreased by 20%. So that was the debuff, but then I got a negative magic defense instead. So yeah, interesting, right? Just because I use something completely different, using ninjutsu, 3C, and ruthless, I was able to do some crazy damage. And with the right setup, I turned a game where I thought I would surely lose, just looking at pick ban, into a match where I ended up with some good, some luck from RNG, 5 against 2, and of course at that point, my opponent gave up. So yeah, it's a very interesting game, indeed. I'm sure for both myself and for my opponent. So if you think about, I know what my win condition was. My win condition was to kill Hiei for my last game, and also making sure I don't die to Arian Rod. But by gambling with Joshua on the debuffs, but as well as the placement and rushing in at the right time, it allowed me to survive, all my characters survive at the end and almost completely wipe out all my opponent. I hope you found that the two games that I shared entertaining. Um, I would definitely love to play a couple more games before the season ends. But at this point, real life and work has been extremely demanding. So for the time being, appreciate you for watching my videos and love to hear from you. Share some comments on what your thoughts are, and always appreciate a like and subscribe as well. Take care and aloha.